Here we are. Good afternoon, Jan.
Hi, Michael.
How was your
That's a
trip?
very long time ago.
Yes, indeed.
It was a great trip. It was a great trip.
Excellent.
Not a minute of rest, but it was a great trip. My wife always says sitting at on the beach or at a swimming pool and reading a book is a waste of time.
Hmm.
So I had no choice to be moving, walking mountain up, mountain down, getting lost, visiting the cities. Um, but it was great. Um,
Excellent. Yeah.
okay.
I disagree, or maybe no. I think I do agree that it is a waste of time, but I can't imagine a better way to waste time. Um, but yeah,
Oh,
seeing the
mm,
cities and and walking, that also sounds like a great way to spend
mm.
some time.
No, it was very beautiful nature with a lot of mountains and a lot of beaches.
Hmm.
So I went to Corsica. I don't know. It's an island of French in the Mediterranean Sea.
Ah, yes.
So it's a beautiful place.
Excellent.
Temperature is about like here, but everything is green. While
Hmm.
here everything is yellow because it's too dry.
Hmm.
And the sea goes directly into mountains. So there's nothing flat.
Wow.
Either you go down, either you go up. But so
Very
no, no.
nice. Yeah, I'll be visiting my daughter in Colorado soon, and yeah, she lives near the mountains um, near Boulder. Boulder's a beautiful place where you can go hiking up the mountains. There's um, all sorts of trails. Just yeah, gorgeous area. So yeah, that's the reason she lives there.
I think in the US you still have huge places where there is really nothing, where you can be isolated,
Hmm.
where you even your portable phone is not working.
Yes.
While here in Europe there is not that much space,
Hmm.
and even there in the mountains, almost everywhere you have reception of your portable phone.
Oh wow.
So
Hmm.
yeah, it's you're never you can never be in danger or isolated.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I used
it's a little,
to I used to go camping in order to get away from reception, and and yeah, for a while that was true, and then they put up towers and you could actually get reception while you're at the campground, but my employer at the time did not know that, so I said, oh, I'm off the grid. Sorry. Um,
mm,
so yeah, I had a rule: no laptops while camping. And it was a rule just for me. I was the only one who
mm,
wanted to to bring one in the first place.
mm. No, I brought my laptop, but I didn't open it
Yeah.
that much. Um, Now the good thing is there is one of my old customers of DWS who left his company. He joined another company as a consultant now.
Ah.
Just before I left on holiday, he
Uh
called
huh.
me, say, and I want to have DWS running as soon as possible. Yeah, I'm going on holiday. I still set it up a little bit for him to do some demonstrations, and the rest of the setup will be after this meeting, after
Very
this.
nice.
So
Excellent. Yeah,
that's a good
that's
thing.
yeah, that's the best way to sell, isn't it? Yeah,
Mm,
you've got your raving fans that move from place to place and basically
mm.
do the selling for you. That is
But
awesome.
that gives me more motivation to get DWS working in Jinaga.
Yes,
But I
yes,
have
indeed.
to I have to pick it up after this holiday.
Yeah. Yeah, I just
Did
had
I?
a sales opportunity for Janaga as well, um, and looks like this is not going to be quite what the client is looking for, um, but
Images.
no, the images
Ah,
I was doing that in order to be able to. use some of those templates and build some maps and basically fill out the palette of examples. So it's like this is a common thing, yeah, and it's also necessary for your application. So it's like, we need to have this problem solved. But no, I was talking with a company that is currently using MongoDB and Atlas, and there is a service offered by MongoDB called Client Data Sync, something like that. But it is basically synchronizing different instances of MongoDB running on different devices. So it's intended for the mobile offline scenario. And MongoDB has announced that they are retiring device sync, and so they're going to be taking that service offline in September 25. So this potential client had the opportunity to, or had to, find a solution to migrate their application. So there's basically two things that they were looking for on the call. Number one, I want assurance this isn't going to happen again. That whatever solution we choose is going to be there. And then they look at Janaga, and it's like, well, where are the logos? Who have you done this work for? Well, yeah, no logo so far. You'd be among the first, but you would be relying upon your improving team. So, well, that's true no matter what we choose. So, not quite what we're looking for there. But then number two, they already had an investment in Mongo with the Atlas API on top of it. When I showed them what Janaga code looked like, it's completely upside down. It's you're not building documents that have objects inside of them. You are creating new records that point back up to their predecessors. And okay, so that's not just a rewrite. That's also a different way of thinking about it. So it wasn't really the right choice for them. But it does look like there is a possible migration path for Mongo users. They are talking with a library called Ditto. So that's that provides peer-to-peer syncing of Mongo databases. So so Ditto is working on a migration path from device sync to their service. So like, what? That's probably the way that you want to go to solve your immediate problem. Now, if they ran into issues with concurrent edits, with the or with not being able to kind of carve out the authorization, down to the granularity that they need. So there are other technical things they might run into down this path, but yeah, the solution, the decision here was not so much a technical one. It was more of a, I want support and I want a migration path. So
But
yeah, I need those things too.
Yeah, but I'm surprised that MongoDB, that they stop device sync.
Yeah.
What's the reason for that?
Yeah, let me see if I can get the article up.
Is
Yeah.
it because they run into technical problems?
They don't really say for certain. But yeah, let me go ahead and share the link with you. And yeah, I'll just go ahead and put it in the general channel so that others can see that as well and wonder what it is we're talking about. And then I'll pull this over so that I can share with the rest of rest of the viewers. Here we are.
There you are.
Okay, so yeah, Atlas Device Sync end of life. Um, so this this article is talking about kind of the reaction to the original announcement, and so this is where they are talking about partnering with Ditto. So, and then they have another list of alternatives. They're not partnering with all of these alternatives, but you can migrate your code over to those. It would just be essentially a rewrite. But with Ditto, they are trying to give you a migration path. So
the decision was not taken lightly, but it will allow us to refocus our efforts on providing customers with a better experience with our other services. Core database, yeah. Okay.
yeah, so I imagine that they discovered that this is a hard problem. Yeah, but I don't see the original announcement of when was what reason was given for the for the announcement originally. But yeah, it's it's a real danger, and this is a large company that is deprecating a feature. So yeah, in one sense, it's when this client is looking to Janaga and saying, well, what assurance do you have? It's like, well, okay, they're asking, are you a large company? Do you have a lot of logos? And Mongo is a large company, has a lot of logos. So there's no assurance in that. But what else do you have? I told him, you've got the support of your improving team. You've got, it's open source. Well, Mongo's open source too. I don't know if Device Sync is open source, but yeah, that is pretty scary. And how do you assure somebody that this is going to be around, that they're going to be able to rely on it? You just have to build that trust and not violate it.
It's a very difficult thing, and my personal experience is that first question a customer ask is that once you get beyond that, by them forgetting about it, then there is no problem anymore. And with the years you build up a kind of trust, because you have to fulfill your obligations. But if there are not too many problems, then they see, okay, everything is working fine, and they believe in it. But too often you see big companies, even Google.
Yes.
How many of their products have they been just cancelled? Millions of people are using it, and they say, no, we don't need it. We don't want it anymore. Finished.
Yeah.
So I think a big company is absolutely no assurance that the product will be supported.
Yeah. So the best that I could offer on that call is that I am actively working on building a support base within Improving. So not only will Improving support whatever solution you you choose, but if you choose the one that we've all collectively trained on, then you get better support. And all I could say at this point is that I'm building that. I couldn't say, we have this. We have a support contract, for example. I can't offer a support contract. I have to actually train people, not only in using the library but also in maintaining it and supporting it. So, yeah, we're still a ways away from that.
Yeah, it begins with a few applications, a few customers, people who really use it, and then step by step it builds trust.
Yep. 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 So we have one improving client, and then there'll be DWS. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So yeah, I think by building a suite of example applications and giving people the source code, then maybe they can say, okay, this I will take as a starter, and then build my
Mhm.
own app, and then slowly grow that collection of logos.
But it takes time,
Yep.
and perhaps it's best that it takes a little bit time because otherwise it brings too much pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
So if you immediately would have, let's say, 20 big companies using the product, then you have to fulfill and you have to come up with solutions for every single problem,
Hmm.
um, and that's not so good
Yeah.
either. It's a balance between uh, what you can do and what is the demand.
Right. Right. And then you get to that point, and a 2-week vacation becomes a rare thing.
Yeah, but a 2-week vacation means just that you postpone all the things that you should have done, uh, because now it's catching up.
Hmm.
But okay, I was already so much behind, and now I'm even. But okay,
Hmm.
now I have energy to do to fight.
Very good.
Mm.
Well, yeah. So I suppose that we can uh, take a look at where we left off on DWS and see what is
Mhm.
next.
Wait, because I'm. Uh, Let me think. Where? Okay. Oh yeah, I have a Git open, but that was on something else here. Um, we had. How did we do it? We worked with Zoom.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I've got the Zoom meeting
You see,
open.
2 weeks,
2 weeks.
two
Yeah.
weeks not not there.
Uh-huh.
Um, Let me see. Zoom from Michael. Let me open that one. Launch that meeting. Um, Invalid meeting ID, he tells me.
Oh.
Uh, but that's perhaps one for weekly Zoom meeting link. Yeah, that might.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. That will do it.
that was another one, perhaps. Launch meeting. Yeah.
Recording in progress.
Okay. So that's already
Excellent.
one thing. So, okay. Then, what was the next thing? We had the model. Didn't I have the TWS full? No, that was the complete model. Where did I put the screenshots? Never mind.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, I can open it, but I just okay. Wait, because I installed the console for that customer to test here.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to remove that installation and install the demo setup. Remove that one. Okay. And now, where is the link for the demo setup? Where is that? Existing customers. And there we have our own demo install. Now, setup. Keep it. Show more. Keep it anyway. Open the file. More information. Run it anyway. Microsoft is difficult. Install it. One of the things I was looking up was on these certificates that you need to sign your applications.
Hmm.
To avoid all this smart screen and all these warnings. I'm surprised about the price of these certificates. These are not the cheap SSL certificates.
Oh yeah, these code signing certificates.
Yeah, they are hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we are.
Yeah.
Let me.
Now I don't know if this is going to be an option, but if you distribute a Windows app through the Microsoft Store, then they'll take care of the code signing.
Okay, but this, so the current console is just a click once,
Yeah.
installation. So that's not through the Microsoft Store. So I had to share. Let's share that screen. That's the entire. Yeah, let's share the entire screen. And then, for example, and this was the combo box.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we had the last model, TWS full. Right to left. Right, so let's take that one also. Up. It was a model that we last time put it 90 degrees turned.
Yes. Yeah, so it could fit on one page. Yeah.
Now, how do I see the source code? Because you were sharing also a screen.
Yes. Yeah, I'd started my screen share, so yeah. Now you should be seeing your own screen share because it's on the window.
Yeah. Why am I not seeing yours at the same time?
Oh, that's because I pulled your screen share in, so I can flip
okay.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can flip to here. So what I did here is that I noticed that I still had the test data or the test code from setting up the avoid async void stuff. So got that back to calling save on the view model whenever you push the save button. And so yeah, now we've got this this method turned back on.
Okay. So now I'm wondering, where were we in that application?
Yeah. So I started it. Here's the main view. And here's the modal.
Yeah, otherwise.
So so we had bound these, and we're filling in.
I don't see the code anymore.
Let's see. So the way that all worked.
How can I see your sharing?
Yeah, you.
My. Yeah, now I
Oh,
have
okay.
it. Now I have it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So at this point, we've got the clients
Yeah,
uh,
that was working.
and yards, and so it is filling in the client name and the yard name on selection, but none of the others so far. But that's um, a pretty simple pattern to just replicate. So the way that was set up.
I was supposed to do that. If
Oh,
I
you're a bit
remember
busy.
well.
Yeah.
If I remember well, I was supposed to do that.
Yep. Yep. I think you'll be able to get back into it and see that.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, when it calls load, it sets up the specification to get all the yards in the supplier, and so that gives you back these anonymous objects here, these projections. So now you've got an observable set of yard addresses, as well as the yard names and the client names. And then the observer uses onAdded for those observables and sets the client name and the yard name and the yard address properties on this yard view model. So yard view model is a simple observable object with some observable properties. So nice and simple. Plus it also has a reference to the yard fact itself. Oh yes, and it also has this toString that gives you back the client name, which was the little trick that we used in order to make this work, that when you selected, it would fill in the client name.
Yeah.
So that's the easy way to do that. There is also a hard way to do that, but may as well go with the easy way. And then when you select one, then you get this onSelected yard changed. And that is, oh, it just showed two references. Yeah, if we take a look at the dialog, then right here, that's the tools group box, that's the task group box, there's the location, here's the client group box. So we've got the selected item bound to selected yard. So selected yard is an observable property of this this view model, and since this is a partial class, this this base class observable object is kind of the the trigger for the community MVVM toolkit to add some additional code. And in fact, we can see that code if we dig in here. We can see things like onSelected yard changed. Oh, it's not taking me to it. Yeah.
Why it's not taking you to that?
Not certain. But essentially, it's generating the properties that implement our notify property changed, and and so those properties will call onSelected yard changed. In fact, let me see if I can do it this way. I'm going to hit F12 here. Yeah, so we can see that this is going to take me to one of these two partial classes. This one here is my code. This one here is the generated code. That's one way we can get to it. So yeah, here we've got the properties. So here's the yeah, it's the selected yard is the property that we're looking for. And so you can see that it generates this code that's going to call all of these different events. So we've got the on property changing, on property changed. That's the one that we're really interested in for iNotify property changed. But then when it's the view model itself that needs to respond, then you'll want to override onSelected yard changing or onSelected yard changed. So so I chose onSelected yard changed, and there are two variations of it. One that that gives you the old value and the new value, one that just gives you the new value. It's funny to see that it generated this code here that uses default for the old value. I'm not certain why that is the case, unless default means something different than I think it means. I would expect to see the selected yard, but at any rate, so this is how we are getting onSelected yard changed whenever the user changes the combo box there. So
Yeah.
oh yeah, I stopped it, so don't have that running anymore. So yeah, at this point, we are setting the yard name to the yard view models yard name. So that list is filled with yard view models. So we're just setting that on this property, which is the one that's bound to the modal itself. So the user can type in a yard name there to override that. So if we take a look at this again, here is the yard name, and we can see there's the text box with that binding of yard name. So if we create observable properties for all of these bindings right here in this new task view model, then we can set all of those properties on selected yard changed.
Yeah.
And that will give us the behavior that we're looking for, where it fills it all in. And then at the point that you save, this is where you are creating the new DWS task. We had to change it from just task because we used the actual task class all over the place. So you create the task, and then here is where we're creating the override of the client name and the yard name for that specific task. And so that is what we put into the model so that we could say, you know, for this task, we're going to use this particular value of client name and yard name. We've got a similar thing for the address, so it'll capture all of those properties from those bindable or observable properties that you'll be adding. And so you'll be able to set them there, and then now we will have a snapshot of what the user typed in for this particular task.
Mm.
Now, there is an option here to optimize a little bit. So, like, what if the user doesn't change the client name? It would be nice to not record a fact and instead have the code default to the client name that's in the lookup. Well, no, that would change the behavior. That would mean that if you changed the client name, then this task would see the new client name. By doing it this way, where we record it even if the user hasn't changed it, then we are capturing that point in history. So yeah, I think we've got the right pattern going on here.
Mm.
So we can finish out that pattern and have all of these filled in, and then do the save. And I think that will get us, that'll get us the client and the location. And then the next thing we would work on would be the task section. So, what are you thinking? What should we do with our time together this morning?
The task is quite similar as the location, I think. But the tools, that becomes a collection there. I think that's more complicated, no?
Yeah. Yep, that makes sense. So, what we
Because for the moment we also cannot add a tool there. So we should be able, because now it was what was it I put there? Just a list box, I assume.
Yeah, you've got. Oh, okay. Yeah, in the actual application, you've got a grid view, and I think for right now in this one, we just have a list box.
In the actual application, I can just add things. Test 1, test 2. And if I type, for example, just T, it will give me all the items that start with a T, which are in the lookup database.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think what we want to do is identify a control that's going to work here and going to give us that capabilities.
How did we model that? It's a tool lookup. So we had a tool lookup.
Yeah. So for a particular task, we chose a particular DWS tool from the lookup table.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, we had a DWS task tool on the fly. And that is if you just type something in and it's not part of the lookup table.
So the latest version that I made of the model, we had for the task, tool, task tool on the fly. Yeah, indeed. Oh, tool lookup.
Yeah. So that takes care of those two use cases where you just pick one from a list versus type one in. So I think what we'll need to do is select a control that gives us that grid behavior, and then populate that drop-down list with a specification. And that will give us all of the DWS tools for that supplier. And then on save, we can distinguish between the ones that were selected from the drop-down and the ones that were typed in. And we'll probably just do that by string, if I'm guessing. We'll have to see what the grid offers. I imagine that when you select something from the list, it's just going to set the string column. So you wouldn't have the original tool fact. You would just have the that string value, and so then we would go back to that list of tools that we used to populate the list, and pick the right one based on the name.
There might be just might be just an ID column which is hidden in that list.
Yep. Yep, and that ID column would actually be the database tool fact. And then the other column would be its name, and that's what we would get from this database tool name projection.
Yeah. I'm gonna check here. Where did I have that source code? And I can open it on my side at the same time. Documents, dev, source. There it is. Yeah. Okay, it's opening here as well.
Okay. So while you are getting that open, so that'll help us determine what is the control to use and how should it be bound. Well, yeah. So that's Windows Forms. We would have to find the WPF equivalent, but at least that'll still help with the search.
If I go to I opened it. I opened the source code of the new one. Wait, and if I go to
are you
AWS, the console, this one?
Yeah, on the share, I'm not seeing it.
Is with version 19, I guess. Let me open this. Right, where was it? And now you should see something on the form.
There we go.
Edit. Yeah, that's the one. And so this control, that was the data grid view that I used at the time.
Yes. Yes. So what have we got in WPF for a data grid view? So there's the data grid. It would be nice if they showed a picture of it so that we could make sure it was what we were looking at. Display and edit data from many different sources. Columns as text. Controls such as combo boxes. Okay. Okay. So since the content is can be a combo box, then we can do the complete behavior where it's actually backed by a view model, and we've got a selected view model, and then it can be null if it's one that we type in. So we have that option. Okay. Yeah, let's just play around with that and see if we're going to get the behavior that we're after. So I'll come down here and let's make this a data grid. And so looking at what Copilot gave me. So it's saying it's giving me a height and a margin. Yeah, it's doing an item source binding, which is good. That's ultimately what we want. For now, however, I will take that out so that we can just put some data in there. And then it set auto-generate columns to false so that it could set the data grid columns directly. So we've got it says tool and quantity. That's not really what we want. What we want is that we'll just have a single column that is just tool, I think. Yeah, take away the quantity. So we will ultimately set that to binding of some property. However, for right now, I'm just going to set that to binding. That way I can fill this data grid with strings, and that string will appear there. So that'll be a good start. And then I can, well, okay, yeah, we will close the data grid, but yeah, what I really want to do is put a data grid items in here, and then we will have just strings. I'm trying to remember specifically how to do that. Is it x colon string? There was some way you could populate it with just strings. It's not going to be this simple, is it? I don't think that's it, but I don't know. It's not complaining. Let me get rid of this one because, yeah, that's okay. It's actually just like this. So okay, let me get that one back so that we can copy that data over. So there's the spade and the lawnmower and the GPS equipment and the brochures. Now we can get rid of that. And oh, it's got them all concatenated as one string.
Yeah, probably need commas between them.
Yeah, I think what it's
Columns
doing
also.
is, yeah, it's just taking this entire thing and saying, oh, that's that is a string object. So yeah, even if we've got put comma in there, we still get the comma.
Between quotes then, everything.
Yeah, the quotes were actually showing the quotes in there. There is a way to use the angle brackets and say this is a string object. I have forgotten what that is, and so I am going to ask my little friend. Hello, little friend. String objects into WPF XAML. How do? Okay, that's not quite what I'm looking for. Okay, it's saying no, you really need to put it into the view model. Okay, so I'm trying to cheat here, but let's cheat a little bit less. Let's go to the items source and set that to binding tools. Then instead of doing this here, I will copy that. We will go to the task, the new task view model, and we will have tools as an observable collection. So let's make this observable property, which I don't think is strictly necessary for an observable collection. but I'll right now make this an observable collection of strings called tools. And initialize it to an empty, well, no, I don't want to initialize it to an empty collection. I want some sample data in there. So let's put some sample data in there. Right, so put quotes at the beginning, put quotes at the end, and then comma separated except for that last one. Okay, so now I've got an observable collection of strings. That is my tools. And then here I have data bound that to the tools property. Capital T tools, because that's the generated property, lowercase t tools for the backing field. So yeah, you can see here, I did yards differently. Let's be consistent. If I make this a public property, then yeah, I'm just yeah, capital T tools. Then I'm just data binding directly to that. Okay, so excuse me. With this, we should see the data grid filled with sample data. Indeed, we do. And right now, it is not editable. I'm sure that I need to tell it to edit things. And then we also don't have an extra row at the bottom to insert more. So a few more things to add there. All right, so how do I make these editable? So this is a text column. I'm sure that we've got other kinds of columns that are interesting. So here's the text column. Here is the checkbox, combo box. Yeah, so eventually I think we will want to go with, well, combo box is backed by an enum. That's not quite right. Yeah, I think we will want to use ultimately a data grid template column. So we will experiment with this one real quick, because this now should give us full control over what happens in the WPF here. If we were to use data grid combo box column, then it says it populates each with the value of an enumeration. That's not quite right. Let's see if we can follow the example. Yeah, so here's the combo box column with the selected status, and the item source is the static resource mynum. And so up here, there's mynum, and yeah, here they are using the order status type. So that's literally an enum of order statuses. So yeah, that's clearly not going to be what we want. That's a static hard-coded list of values. So just want to be absolutely certain that there is no other way to do this. So we've got a bunch of properties that we can use to change things, like the text binding. So we could change how the text is rendered. Item source, now instead of a hard-coded list, we can set this to an IEnumerable. So at least we can do that part. And here is read-only. We can see whether the values are editable. Okay, well that would imply that it doesn't have to be in enum. This might actually work after all. And here's the editing element style. So we can style the edit control. This might actually work. I'm not certain why it insists here that the data type is enum, but that might be what we are after. So data grid combo box column. So data grid combo box column. All right, so this is saying binding is not found here. Nope, it's not binding anymore. It is going to be selected item binding. That is, and then item source. So so let's do those two. Let's just do the item source for right now. Item source. This is going to be a binding to not tools, because tools is the collection of tools that I'm allocating for this task. But maybe we'll call this tool catalog. All right. So
Michael, I was looking through the way I did it in the current version.
Yeah.
And actually there, so I cast, there is an editing control showing event on the data grid view. I cast that to a text edit control. And in the text edit control, you had an autocomplete mode that you could assign to a custom data source. And that gives me the functionality of that combo box that appears. And so in the text edit control, I could just edit the values. Yeah, that's actually what you see here. And so the data grid view machines.
Okay. So the text edit control, yeah, you've cast that from the, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think from what I've seen in the documentation that that the WPF data grid is set up differently than that. That yeah, instead of having the code that you write, you look at the controls inside of the data grid. You instead give the data grid templates. And so, yeah, I think that this behavior, or at least right now I'm assuming that this behavior is what they've implemented by default in the combo box. So yeah, if we use the default combo box and see what it does, does it match exactly? Then we're good. If it's different, then we do have the option of defining our own template. But yeah, it would still be done the WPF way. So basically more of a declarative style. Okay. Yeah, so where are you getting the list of items to show in that tools dropdown?
That comes if you, so let's see, edit custom. So that comes from in my software or in the model?
Yeah, let's start with in your software.
Yeah. So here it's just a table that I get.
Okay.
So if I go to this one, you see it goes to
Yes, got it.
yeah, machine name. So and that's actually just a table that I read in.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. So then the Janaga way would be that we've got a specification that gives you back those
yeah,
items, and then that's in
because
an observable collection, and we bind that to the item
because
source.
that was what we had in the machines. Where was it? Tool. Didn't we had a look? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Task tool.
that's when we select one. Its predecessor there, DWS tool. That is the set of objects that we are looking for. So we'll have a set of DWS tools for that given supplier, and then each one is going to have a tool name. So we've got the tool name successor. So that little specification will give us the objects to populate.
Mm-hmm. I have two priors here. Something is not correct here.
Yeah. I think this
Two
is
things.
something that you pointed
Yeah.
out. I've since fixed
Yeah,
it
that
in
was
a
you fixed it
yeah.
indeed. Indeed.
but yeah, this is still a capture from the one where you
From,
listed that type twice.
okay. Great. I will
Yeah.
try and have a look at that this week.
Okay.
Catch up a little bit and to dive a little bit in the WPF controls.
Uh huh.
Anyway, they are a lot more with all these template platings. They are a lot more flexible than the controls we had in the old versions.
Yeah, in Windows Forms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
Yeah, and I'll also yeah, see if I can complete the that tool list, and so we can both kind of try that out and see where we
where we
get.
get.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then we got back on track.
Yep.
Next week, Thursday, same time.
Yes, indeed.
There is no change of summer to winter time yet.
Not before next week. I think that's going to take effect the week after.
Okay.
But yeah, I will let you know for sure. And then yeah, I also for folks in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, I am going to be speaking in Tulsa coming up soon. That might be. I think that is that might actually be next. Is that next week? It might, yeah, I think it might be next Thursday. So so yeah, we'll meet, and then yeah, I'll head up to Tulsa, and then I'll speak to the user group up there.
But that's something not online.
There is an online option as well. So yeah, if you go to the Tulsa Developers Association, search for them, then
And what is the subject of the talk?
that one is identity, immutability, and polyglot notebooks. So
Okay.
so yeah, I'll this is one that I gave for the Dallas .NET user group a little while back, and it's basically let's number one, I want to introduce people to polyglot notebooks. Yeah, here's a useful tool. But then number two, how can we explore the idea of identity? As Rumbaugh originally talked about it, and then as I talk about it in the book, and then move on forward to why is immutable a good default, and then ultimately on to here's how immutability shows up in Janaga. So it's quite a journey.
Introduction of Jinaga using polyglot notebooks.
Yep.
Okay. See you Thursday then, Michael.
Indeed. Yeah, I'll see you then.
Okay. Bye-bye.